Have you ever felt like you just want to give up? I get to that point where I truly feel like I want to give up. Because we've been exposed to all this stuff, and when I think about myself and my wife and how we could take care of ourselves, we live on a sustainable farm, I'm like, you know what, forget it. I'm done. I give up. But when I think about my children, they had to grow up in this world. Let's just talk about a few things. Here we have more politicians and more influencers upset at the halftime show of Super Bowl versus the files and list release that no one's done anything about. We have more people upset with the fact, and don't get me wrong, I didn't watch the Bad Bunny halftime show, but we're more upset and we have more content built around the fact that this guy is playing at halftime versus the most overwhelmed people in the world, the most elite people, the most influenced people in the world have been involved in a major trafficking issue. And yet, nothing has been done. We're more irate at football than our politicians. That leads me to another point with our wonderful Congress. John Thune says, I just don't know if we could pass this SAVE Act. I don't know if there's enough time to save our elections in America. That's why I say I truly give up. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about money, how, the one trajectory that's went up over and over and over is our debt. And yet we hear all this movement and political speak from both sides of the party saying, oh yeah, we're going to fix America. And yet they keep spending our money, our kids' future, our grandkids' future, and yet there will be no empire for them to walk up to and be part of. They'll be part of a controlled nation. There's no way we can keep going at these levels of spending. There's no way. And then lastly, we're going to talk about healthcare. The Amish somehow never get cancer, never get Alzheimer's, never get diabetes, never get any of the things that we get. Why is that? It's because they've shunned our food system and shunned medicine. I want to kind of give you a personal story. I've been ending with these personal stories. My son, was diagnosed with type 1. And there's a great story in all this, a testimony. But before that, we just received our quote-unquote package from the American Diabetic Association. You won't believe what was in it. It's not about healing. It's about control. Wait till you hear this story, my personal story dealing with my son. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. If you like the content, it means the world to us, and we hope that you get something out of our videos, maybe some common sense, some wisdom, and maybe something to say, you know what, that's thought-provoking. Let's learn a little bit more about that. That's what I hope. Now remember, we have another channel, Colby Mac. You can follow our journey. We're on the farm today, so you will see that video coming out this afternoon. Not only that, I have a testimony and story about my son about type 1. Wait till you hear it. It's not going to be on today's video. It'll be on the next video coming up. But we're going to talk about it a little bit today on this video. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about the fact of why I say I give up. It kind of goes along with this whole theme of this video. And it's not the fact that I have to say I'm done with all. I'm saying that's the kind of pressure that we as conservative Christian Americans feel each and every day. Because we are grinding each and every day. And yet we feel like nothing is going on. It feels like we're trying to go up a hill and we just keep falling down, keep going backwards, no matter who's in control. Prime example, let's go over just a few of these things. I made a comment at the very start of this video. It seems like we had more people upset that they watched the Bad Bunny halftime versus this whole, Epstein list and file dump. Now, I want to talk about this in two different facets. Did I watch the Bad Bunny thing? Do I think it was a terrible call? Yes, I talked about it in yesterday's video. I believe it's tied to Jay-Z. I believe it's actually tied to the same elite people that we're mad about, to be honest with you. If you look into it, it's tied to the same situation that we're dealing with the list and files. The problem I have with all this, though, is we've had more Republicans mad and talk about how they're going to watch the TPUSA event versus watching the Bad Bunny event. And yet, they stay silent on the files and list. Have you heard any of these Republicans who are just dogging out Bad Bunny really talk about the files and lists and how they really want it released? How they really want to expose it? Now here's the thing. The Senate, a lot of the Senate Congress are probably not on the list. But a lot of the biggest players that they're tied to are. And I think that's where you get into the situation where no one wants to talk about it. Now, the problem I have with this, and I told you this already, just like the Bad Bunny thing, we saw it was terrible, and yet people still watched it. That's terrible. That shows that they're going to keep on giving us crappy programming. But on the other hand, when we talk about the list and files, we're exposing name after name after name. We're opening doors for more investigations, more investigations, more investigations. We're seeing the dangers of some of the biggest bankers, some of the biggest scientists, some of the biggest doctors, some of the biggest philanthropists, some of the biggest billionaires, some of the biggest people in the world. And not one thing's done about it. Not one thing's done about it. I get on here and it's like, and I think a lot of people do, is until we're blue in the face, we talk about the dangers of what we're living in America. And yet we just act like, well, we'll just sweep it under the rug. No big deal. Out of sight, out of mind, we'll talk about something else. You know that Fort Knox gold, we forgot about that. No big deal. You know about the situation with us giving, $50 million a week to the Taliban? Sweep it on. No big deal. We talked about voter registration and voter ID and Save America Act. Let's forget about that. You see how easy it is to forget because we're in such a crazy news cycle? I mean, did you see this report that John Thune is saying, this is his exact words, this is a quote. John Thune says, he may not be able to allow a standing filibuster to vote and pass voter ID and citizenship for elections because they don't really know if they have enough time to pass this bill. We don't know if we have enough time to really work on this Voters Act to save our elections. Now, he'll go in and say, and what they'll do is this, they'll wait to the next quote-unquote closed shutdown of the government. And they'll go and say, well, we pushed, we got a lot of things, but we just couldn't get that voter ID. Just didn't have enough time. Didn't have the votes. I give up. This is why I say I just want to live on my farm and leave me the crap alone. Because I get so sick and tired of these people leading us. No one's getting it exposed and arrested. Everybody's just getting exposed. So we're like, let's just embarrass them. I mean, do you honestly believe these billionaires are worried about what us peasants think about them? No, they'd be worried if they got arrested, but they're not going to get arrested. Isn't it sad that we're worried more about halftime at a football game than we're worried about a trafficking ring that really was tied to so many intelligence and billions and evil in the world? Even down to the medicine. And oh yeah, by the way, did you see the Rothschild and Epstein leak where they were talking about a coup d'etat in Ukraine? It happened around the same time that Biden and Obama did a coup d'etat in 2014. It's amazing, isn't it? Before we get into the thing with the Amish and dealing with the fact of medicines and then my personal story with my son, I want you to think about this. Whatever money you had in the bank and the stock markets in cash in 2020, did you know it has 22% less buying power today than it did then? Have you seen your grocery bills, the fact that all your money seems like it doesn't go nearly as far? Most people tell you that the markets are doing great. Have you seen the Dow? Have you seen the NASDAQ? Have you seen all these accounts? They're doing wonderful. But what we tend to forget is when you compare the market to what gold and the value of gold to the dollar cost average and the fact of how the market has been completely taken over by dollars. And when you think about the inflation and interest, that dollar doesn't go nearly as far. And actually the market hasn't done nearly as good when you compare it towards real money, gold. That's what today's sponsor is of the utmost importance, Augusta Precious Metals. Use my link below, text the number on the screen. There's nothing more important to coming up with true real wealth than gold and silver. I know a lot of people talk about gold and silver, and I love putting it physical. But what about the fact that you think your IRAs are doing good, or you think your money's doing well in the stock market, and then when you compare it to what the cost of goods are, and your food and gases cost 22, 24, 26% more year over year. However, your money in the stocks only went up 6 or 7%, 8%. We're actually losing money. Why don't you look at Augusta Precious Metals? Call them or text this number below. Text this number on the screen and you'll get a guide. It talks about how true value and true savings is in gold and silver. We're 250 years old this year in America. And yes, we've had $1 and it's done well for a time, but there's no other currency ever in the world that's lasted over about 100 years, other than the dollar, which is now kind of struggling, other than gold. Gold is so important to have, to diversify, to make sure that your wealth never leaves you. You've worked very hard for your money. Let's have a peace of mind in knowing by putting some of it in gold and silver, it will be safe. I want to sleep at night, and when I know I have assets that's been around for centuries instead of just decades, then I know I've got value. Check with Augusta Gold today. Go to maxlovesgold.com or text this number below. Get your free guide to understand how valuable it is to have gold and silver. Because when it comes down to it, when you actually compare how much gold has went up compared to the stock market, gold has outperformed. It doesn't look like our Congress is going to quit spending money. So the dollar is going to keep being volatile. Gold is not. Go to maxlovesgold.com today. I want to talk about the Amish. Listen to this. It says, if we could just learn from the Amish has no obesity, no infertility, no cancers, no diabetes, no heart disease. It says it's less than about 2% of individuals that deal with this in the Amish communities. It says they've basically staved off every single health issue. And I wonder why. They have the highest fertility in the world, and it doubles every 20 years when compared to the typical American family. You know why that may be? It may be because they don't put all this in their kids when they're young. It may be the fact that they have a cleaner food system. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because of this right here. Nicholas Holscher, an epidemiologist, stated, it says the largest single study ever conducted on any and all of these to heal and help your bodies, quote unquote, for preventative care, quote unquote. It is found that in adults, 50% increase of Alzheimer's and 38% increase of dementia happens when we live our life with preventative care medicines. Now think about that for a second. So we're trying to take preventative care things in our arm or in our mouth, and what we're realizing is it's actually causing us to have Alzheimer's and to have dementia. And that's just one thing. Think about what I just said with the Amish. The Amish are not dealing with anything that we're dealing with. It may be because they have not bought into the system of our food and drug use, our food and pharma use. Truth. Now, I'm going to elaborate on this with my child in a video on Colby Mack on my blog channel. But we have really made a major impact in my son's life in his situation with type 1. Type 1, they say, is genetic. Truly, I don't believe that's genetic at all because it's not in our family at all. It was autoimmune response. And guess what? We didn't take any of this stuff, if you remember what I'm talking about. He has none. Here's what it is, though. They say it could be, could have been viral, could have been something he ate. Well, we eat a very clean diet. We'll talk about that in that video, but here's what I want you to listen to. One of the doctors told us that we need to make sure he's on a balanced diet still, not a healthy diet. They were saying he needs to be on a balanced diet, a lot of carbs still, even though carbs turn into sugar, which causes the blood sugar raise, which causes bad problems with diabetics. Okay, they're saying we need a monitor, 24-hour monitor, so it means we have to put a wireless connectivity on our child, which we opted out. We had another doctor tell us they need a pump so they could pump this stuff in our body at all times. I don't believe that that's a good thing. We opted out. My son has been completely different since we've done what we've done. And again, it's healing. It's working. And we'll elaborate on the other channel. But here's the part I want to talk about. The doctor kept saying, do more, involve yourself more in this trash food system, so then therefore you need more of these. That's exactly what they were saying. Prime example. I want to show you pictures. 3 pictures. This is from the American Diabetic Association for peds, meaning for children that are going through type 1, type 2 diabetes. They give this help. So they send a monitor out. They send all this stuff. They send some test kits out. That's all great. I mean, that's I guess the good part. Hey, we want to make sure your kid has what they need. And we have tons of it, and I told you we stockpile a lot of this stuff. But if you look at what they sent. Now, my kid's supposed to stay away from sugar, bad snacks, sugary drinks, sugary fruity drinks that are not real fruit, and stay away from grains and carbs. Did you know that's what they send him in their snacks? Because they said kids got to be kids. They need to take this stuff and eat this stuff and feel like a normal kid again. Just give them some insulin to be okay. This is why I give up. Because our healthcare system, our political system, our medicine system, everything you want to say is broken. And I'm scared that we can't fix it anymore. I'm scared it's going to take a complete humbling of our system. And that scares me. That's what I was telling you about my 6 kids. I'm worried each and every day for them. Because they've got to grow up in a broken world. Even more broken than this. Because the more exposure we see and nothing gets done, and we're worried about Bad Bunny, not worried about the list and files that needs to be arrested, that's a problem. When we tell people instead of living like Amish and eating healthy and being healthy and not needing Food and Drug Administration or needing people to overregulate us, no, we want you to be sick and then we're going to give you stuff to not heal you but to systemically keep you on the system. That's what's happened. Wait till you hear my son's story on the other channel. It's coming out later this week. Do not miss it because it will blow your mind. And I get emotional talking about it because we didn't get help from doctors. We got help from people trying to do something different alternatively. We did get help from one doctor who's a functional health doctor. We did get help from another doctor who is not part of the system anymore, can't practice because he chose to go against it. We got to have something different, people. This is not the answer. That's why I say, I give up. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. That's why I tell you to buy gold and silver, because it's getting away from the system. That's why I tell you to grow your own food, because it's getting away from the system. That's what we need to learn from the Amish, to be honest with you. What true value is not what the world tells us. It's what's been around for centuries. Food, gold, protection, skills. That's the answers. Let me know your thoughts on today. God bless.
Be free.